if they take over coaching like everybody wants them to, there's not going to be anything left for the white people. I mean, all the players are black. I mean, the only thing that the whites control is the coaching jobs.
Yeah, maybe we need to get more black coaches, don't you?
Oh, it's all right with me.
Okay, well,
I'm sure that they'll take over that pretty soon, too.
One of my favorite things about America and being American is that when a person is not doing so well in life or even with a particular skill set, you know, us as Americans, we rally together and we encourage one another, right, to believe in yourself more, to have higher self-esteem. And then once we actually become, or once that person actually becomes successful and has way more self-esteem, we're happy for them.
So when I look at my culture, my race, and my people rallying around just coaching at a white boy school, they benefit more than us. We've taken all of our support to go there to encourage them. If we just did one school like that every year, our HBCUs wouldn't struggle with money.
What is it about Deion, besides him being a great player, that makes you doubt that he can?
Arrogance. Arrogance.
Okay.
Arrogance.
A little male jealousy right there.
No. And I think a lot of times incredibly gifted people have flaws that their gifts make up for, but they think their flaws are part of their strength. And Deion was not the greatest corner to ever play the game, in my opinion.
That's fine.
Because of his arrogance.
Never mind.
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Man, welcome back to another episode of Ruling Class Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Didi, back up in this bitch with another video. Listen, if you're new to the show, please know we're thirsty to grow and to drink some of this warm water with lemon. You can help me out by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. But don't worry, I'm going to give you a sec to do that to help me out. We're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. Look at that subscriber count. So I really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we post a new video. I appreciate you. All right, Deion Sanders, man, one of the greatest football players of all time, but not only a former professional football player, but also a former professional baseball player, as a lot of you know already. Well, he's been in the headlines for like the last year, really, for several different reasons. You know, he previously coached at Jackson State University, which is a historically black university, and I believe their record was like 27-6. I believe they had a year where they went undefeated, and in my opinion, in the 3 years that he was there, that's a pretty successful record. And that's a pretty successful stint at that college, being that they were not that successful before you came, and you brought excitement, you brought prospects, right? And you brought a whole lot of attention and popularity to that university, right? So I think that's a great cause, and I think he did a great thing. Now, he's recently come out and spoke to why he left.
You left Jackson State, and you left quick. What did you tell those kids? What did you tell those kids?
I didn't leave quick. Let's slow down.
I
didn't leave quick. I left when I was supposed to leave. We finished. Most coaches get a new job and they leave expeditiously. I finished the task.
You say finish the task. Was there more work you could have done in Jackson, or?
I think we did a tremendous job in Jackson. I think we laid down a tremendous blueprint.
We tried to press Sanders on the circumstances surrounding his abandoning the mission at Jackson State. He's hinted the school's lack of forward thinking may have factored in his decision.
And that's unfortunate, but nonetheless, I think he did what he was supposed to do there, and he did a great thing for a historically black university. A lot of people were not a fan that he left, but not only because he left, but because of where he left from and where he went to, which is Colorado, which is, he left a place that was majority African-American population, let alone majority African-American athletes, to a place that's like, I believe, less than 1% African-American.
So when I look at my culture, my race, and my people rallying around just coaching at a white boy school, they benefit more than us. We've taken all of our support to go there to encourage them. If we just did one school like that every year, our HBCUs wouldn't struggle with money. If we did that for one game that they did, if they did one HBC school like that a year, they wouldn't struggle for money. If we did all of that, if we gave one coach the same support, one weekend, just one weekend, fam, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, all of the stars come out to just one black school, one weekend out, come on, it would generate the same kind of money. Last year, it cost $450 to go to a Colorado University football game for the whole year. 1 seat cost that now. So last year and 2 years before that, the internet, Black Twitter, and everybody was on hashtag HBCU. I haven't seen one hashtag HBCU this year yet. White school, 99% predominantly white with a few black token players. Run, run. And y'all think Deion doing this for black kids? He's doing this so his son can go first round draft pick quarterback.
Listen, I just want to interrupt for just a sec to say if you are enjoying this video, I ask that you please hit that like button. If you enjoy my content, if you want to help the channel, please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm and help pushes my video out there. I would really, really appreciate it. Also, subscribe to my second channel if you have not subscribed yet. Link is in the description. And a lot of people were not a fan of that, right? And they felt like he was giving all of his attention and the power that he possesses, he's giving that to the wrong organization. Now, me personally, I believe that you should be able to do what you want. And I think Deion Sanders, to be fair, is being consistent here. He's going to a place that's an underdog. He's going to a place where it's going to be a challenge for him. He's looking to excel that program. And that's just what he's done so far, despite the fact that before he came, or when he first made the transfer, a lot of people didn't believe in it.
I think we're gonna finally see, for all the hoopla and all of the hype going into the offseason with Deion Sanders in Colorado, it does not mask the fact that they don't have any players on that roster.
Watch and see whether he can win the game or not, which very few people think he can. I think the spotlight that will be on him Saturday morning will not carry well to the next week. Your rundown for SportsCenter, you don't go, Colorado, they're 0-3. That's a good story. Why don't we lead with that today? He's going to be very angry, very cantankerous, and really will do some more damage than good.
I think Colorado's going to be 3-9. Maybe 4-8, maybe.
All the documentaries and the whatever else Deion is doing, it's great. But who wants to watch a losing team?
And not only that, a lot of people not believe in it, but a lot of people, right, but feels that this is due to underlying racism, right? Because when you look at historically in this country and the collegiate system, or even on the professional level, it's always the dynamic of, or the ratio of, majority of the players are African American, but most of the coaches are white. Majority of the players are African American, but majority of the owners, and like majority, I mean like more than 99% of the owners, are white or Jews.
If they take over coaching like everybody wants them to, there's not going to be anything left for the white people. I mean, all the players are black. I mean, the only thing that the whites control is the coaching jobs.
Yeah, but maybe we need to get more black coaches, don't you?
Oh, it's all right with me. Okay, well, I'm sure that they'll take over that pretty soon, too.
And so a lot of people are always questioning why that is the case. Now, what I've learned is a lot of times it's because you have way more prospects that are white because of the number size, right? The overwhelming larger number of white people in this country that are applying for these positions, to be fair. But it's also because a lot of times African Americans may be applying for other positions as it pertains to other fields. Now, as it pertains to sports, I don't know what the percentages are as far as like how many African Americans are applying to be coaches, but I can imagine that it's an undeniable amount. So it's a fair question as to why there are not as much of a representation of African Americans in the coaching and the ownership roles as there are as it pertains to players, right? And so it's almost like one of those things with Deion Sanders. When you see some of the hate that he's getting, people like to equivalate it to almost like the famous saying, they'll love you enough or like you enough to invite you to dinner, but they don't like you or love you enough to allow you to marry their daughter, to date their daughter. It's one of those things. It's like, all right, you can come and you can hang around. You can come and have some drinks, but we're not going to give you any, high-ranking roles. And so now that Deion Sanders has stepped into this role, and not only has he stepped into the role, but he's unapologetic and he's doing a great job, people are quiet. Nobody's really saying anything anymore, right? And so another thing I want to talk about is Jason Whitlock, right? Who has been very, very vocal about not only Deion Sanders' success and how he should be accredited for some of Deion Sanders' success, but he's also talked about how he's not a fan of Deion Sanders. Even if he's successful in Colorado, which he claims he's rooting for Deion to be successful, he don't believe that he will because Deion's too arrogant.
What is it about Deion, besides him being a great player, that makes you doubt that he can?
Arrogance.
Now, let me say, if you don't know who Jason Whitlock is, he's one of those people. He used to be on these. He used to be one of the, the big talking heads at. I don't believe he was ever on ESPN, but I know he was on like Fox Sports and things of that sort, right? So he's pretty popular in that field, but he's kind of like deterred because he's always had a reputation of criticizing players, but since kind of stepping away from the major sports platforms, and since he started his own platform, he's been just very critical of the so-called black community and how we've gotten away from God and how we've gotten away from family, right? And how we have to improve these things, that being our relationship with God, our relationship with our family, the fathers being in the home, which I agree with, if we want to better our circumstances.
The man claiming God as his motivating force invited the gangster rap world to his locker room, to his sidelines, to Boulder, Colorado, and everywhere.
Now, a lot of people believe that his conservative perspectives are rooted in self-hate, and I don't fully agree with that. But what I do want to speak to is that while I agree with Jason Whitlock that Deion Sanders is too old to be wearing jewelry, or at least that much jewelry. And another thing that I agree with Jason Whitlock on is that it does seem that it's a bit of a contradiction when Deion Sanders is in one token mentioning God and Jesus. He's even openly talked about Jesus.
I've trusted man, I've trusted woman, I've trusted child. I've trusted people, places, and things. And every last one of them have somehow, some way or another let me down. But not Jesus.
It's one thing to talk about God and Jesus and things of that sort, but it's a completely different thing when you talk about God and Jesus and then in the same tone talk about me.
Do you feel like you were underestimated? You come here and it's, I don't know if Coach Prime can win. You must have heard what some of these other coaches were saying, both secretly and out loud.
That's fear.
Fear.
Yeah, that's fear. That's like, hey man, shoot, we don't want to let that engine that could get going, because if that engine that could get going, he gonna start saying, I think I can. And sooner or later, he gonna start saying, I know I can. Then sooner or later, he gonna start saying, I did that. Now, it is my job to make sure I have what we need to win. That makes a lot of people feel good. Winning does. My kids that play for me, they didn't choose a university. They chose me. That's the difference.
Right? And I personally don't believe that Deion Sanders talks enough about team, and he gives himself too much credit. Even though he deserves credit, I just think it's not setting a great precedent for your players that look up to you as it pertains to the team aspect of things. Because when you're taking a lot of credit and you're talking about what you've done and what you're doing and what you're going to do and what you've done and what you've done, it comes off as arrogant. But in the same sense, I also want to say that I like how confident he is for the most part, because when you're that confident, you make people uncomfortable. When you believe that much in yourself, you make other people uncomfortable because they can't be that confident. They don't believe that much in themselves. And the truth of the matter is, by the grace of God, when you are that confident and when you work hard and you combine all those things together, by the grace of God, we are allowed to excel in this life, right? And I believe that it just rubs people the wrong way because they're not able to do that and that they wish that they could. I mean, just think about it. How can you criticize Deion Sanders for saying something like this?
Like O-linemen, I look for dual parent homes,
right? A
strong father that they adhered to.
Right.
My defensive lineman's totally opposite.
What do you mean?
Single mama, trying to get it. He's on free lunch. I mean, like, I'm talking about just trying to make it.
This baby mama culture, 75% of our kids being born to unwed mothers, we're not developing, cultivating leaders. And again, all we want to do is talk about racism. We don't want to talk about the foundational piece that God gave us, family, mama and daddy, and the breakdown of that and what the repercussions are for that. We can't even address this. All we got is just racism.
Jason Whitlock, what are you talking about, bro? Like, the only problem I can see someone having with what he said is that he said the quiet part out loud. He said what everybody thinks. He says what everybody knows. He says what everybody feels, right? He's just saying it out loud unapologetically. And I'm that person to come in the room and speak on the elephant in the room. I'm going to speak on that one thing people don't want to talk about. Come on, let's get in front of it and let's talk about it and let's embrace it, right? This man has, in my opinion, and Deion Sanders has been stand up for the most part. He's creating a great Because again, I believe representation is everything. And I'll never forget this. When I was in graduate school, a professor said something that always stuck with me. She said, representation is everything, right? When you see somebody that looks like you, when you see somebody that has experienced some of the same things that you've experienced, you can see yourself, accomplishing what they accomplished. You can see yourself doing more in this life than what you previously thought, because now you see it, right? And so not only is Deion Sanders in this role as an African-American coach, which is important, it is. I don't care how much you all like to steer away from race and pretend like it's not that imperative. It is, because when young black men see another black man in a role like being a coach, which is a pretty powerful position, and not only that, but you're representing, you're winning, right? You're working hard, you're enforcing the whole idea to work hard.
I ordered these overalls probably a couple weeks ago, and they were sitting up under my desk, and I said, today is the perfect day to wear. Because when you see a man in overalls, the first thing you think is word. When you see a man with a pickup truck, the first thing you think is word.
I don't understand the whole idea of why people should be upset about that, right? Last time I checked, we was in America, and people liked it when you, what is it? Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and you work hard to accomplish something. If Deion Sanders is not the example of that, then I don't know what is, right? Are y'all familiar with who Deion Sanders is? What are y'all thoughts about his time so far at Colorado State? His back and forth with the coach, I believe his name is Jay Norvell, and how Jay Norvell criticized Deion Sanders for greeting him with sunglasses and a hat on and saying that, hey, my mom taught me, right, that you're supposed to take your sunglasses and your hat off when you're talking to another adult, right? What do you think about all of that? What do you think about Deion Sanders' success? What do you think about Deion Sanders' personality, right? What do you think about the things that Jason Whitlock has said about Deion Sanders so far? Do you think some of this is rooted in self-hate? Do you think some of this is rooted in racism? Do you think some of this is just rooted in jealousy or none of it, right? Hop in the comment section, give me your thoughts, man. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hop in the comment section, man. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we post a new video. And yo, ask me about my podcast, man. All right.
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.